Good morning. This is Shindo. This morning I'd like to talk about someone who has grown in tremendous influence over the it's hard to believe we've only been in this administration for what, 2.5 months. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who has become a major influence over Donald Trump. When it comes to this administration and who he has surrounded himself with, you really couldn't write a novel like this and it be believable. First, he has Steve Bannon, who is the former editor and the founding member of Breitbart News. Now, I did a video about Steve Bannon and his very bizarre apocalyptic ideas about, well, the end times. I will put this into the description box. It's important to know about Steve Bannon because Steve Bannon couldn't be more opposite than Jared Kushner. Now, this is really a major part of what a lot of conspiracy folks are looking into when it comes to what happened in Syria. Steve Bannon was part of Trump's Security Council for some time until about 2 days before Trump fired 59 Tomahawk missiles at Syria. Now, Trump's firing of these missiles at Syria has totally changed the perception that these conspiracy types who are like Steve Bannon of Trump. It has completely changed their perception of Trump. Now we have the conspiracy types who are looking and believing that Jared Kushner is having this major influence over Donald Trump. Now, Jared Kushner, if you don't know this, is a practicing Jew. I'm not sure. I guess he's Orthodox Jew. He's an Orthodox Jew. Modern Orthodox Jew. Now, this is very interesting because he has a relationship with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. So it's pretty clear that when this peace happens in Israel, that the major player is going to be Jared Kushner. There is not a whole heck of a lot known about him, at least from his own first-hand experience, because he doesn't talk much to the press, unlike, of course, Steve Bannon. Now, they want to play it down within the administration, but there's obviously a power play going on between Steve Bannon, who has, as the head of Breitbart News, has had, well, let's just say controversial views when it comes to the Jews, as most conspiracy folks do, by the way. Those of you who are not part of those conspiracy crowd, which most of the people I think that subscribe to my channel are at least fairly familiar with what conspiracy type folks believe. Well, the root to all these conspiracies, I mean virtually all of them, is that the Jews control the world. Much of the conspiracy type crowd are anti-Semitic, which makes it a very interesting choice. And honestly, I'm not sure where Donald Trump's head is, either when it comes to either putting in Steve Bannon, who's a crackpot. He's crazy. I have this video. You'll find it in the description box. Go and listen to this guy's ideas about these end times. They're bizarre. He believes in something that really fits in well with this whole Kek idea, where they have brought out this ancient Egyptian god. The bizarreness, I mean, for me to even to start scratching that surface, it's it's a dangerous place to go. But it's so bizarre. These things going on today are so strange, and the people that are in control, including Trump, of this planet are so very odd. And even though we don't know a whole lot from Jared Kushner himself, his life story is very strange. His father is in jail for tax evasion. He's a white-collared criminal. He was in jail, excuse me, back in early 2000s for tax evasion. And his grandparents, Kushner's grandparents, survived the Holocaust. They're Holocaust survivors. Kushner became himself a real estate investor, just like Trump. So I imagine that's where, they met each other. This building that you see behind him, the address to this building is 666 5th Avenue. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The bizarreness that goes on, that is going on within this Trump administration is bizarre. Here we have a man who is Jewish, who is a practicing Jew. Okay, he's a practicing Jew. He's not just Jewish and, that's just his background. He is a practicing Jew. You've got a Jew in his cabinet. I mean, he's not officially part of his cabinet, but he's there. And you've got Steve Bannon, who is basically an anti-Semite. So why would Trump have such two very different people surrounding him like this? Now, what you're seeing with the Christian conspiracy crowd, and with these conspiracy folks who are Christian, as I've discussed, as Lucy has discussed before, these conspiracy ideas have become incorporated into their Christian constructs. You can't separate the two with these people anymore. The conspiracy idea is part of their Christianity now. Or you can say Christianity is part of their conspiracy idea. They're inseparable at this point with many of these Alex Jones type crowd. And they're going in very bizarre places. I have been listening to a number of different Christian conspiracy types, and they've gone from believing that Donald Trump is Cyrus, is some kind of gift from God to the United States of America, because the United States of America has been we've been so wonderful that we deserve somebody like Donald Trump. Well, we do deserve somebody like Donald Trump, but not in a good way. Not in a good way. We're getting what we deserve with him. They have gone, the Christian conspiracy crowd, from looking at Donald Trump as a godsend, as someone who's going to bring back morality, Christianity to this nation. They've gone from that, from one strike on Syria, to looking at him as though, what the heck is going on? Who got to Donald Trump? That's what they're all saying. Who got to him? Instead of, you know what, Donald Trump lied to us. Donald Trump wasn't what we thought he was. I mean, he didn't even lie to them, is the ironic thing. He didn't even lie to them. When it came to Christianity, he said he never once asked for forgiveness from God. So what do you expect from him? You that went in there as a Christian and voted for Donald Trump and are now having doubts about it, you should have had those doubts before you cast your vote. I've made several videos about what kind of person Donald Trump is. And he's surrounding himself with people that are like him. So to go from first thinking Donald Trump is God's chosen, which they are literally calling him God's chosen, to now, who got to Donald Trump? No one got to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's not, quote unquote, God's chosen. Unless you're thinking he's the one God chose to be the beast, which he is. So it makes no sense. Well, it makes sense from the perspective of, I've been watching these people and their mental illness called Christianity for several years, and I'm not talking about the kind of Christians that your parents, my parents are in their 70s, and when I talk about Christians now, I'm not talking about Christians like them. I'm not talking about older people who, go to the Methodist or the Lutheran church, ordinary Christians. I'm talking about this bizarreness that's become Christianity today, where people can put up videos with a demon picture in my pineal gland. Me personally can put up a video of a so-called demon in my pineal gland and say that I have a demon inside of my pineal gland, and people can watch that and think that that's logical and makes sense. I mean, that's the kind of Christian we have today, at least online. And considering how important going online is to most people, that's saying that there are a lot of people who think this way, that are this crazy now. This is what Christianity has become. But here we have these Christian conspiracy types who are now looking at Jared Kushner and saying, has he got to Trump? They're sure it's him, and so am I. I'm sure it was him and his daughter, at which Trump has admitted to, who pushed Trump into the one worlder sort of way of perspective of things. Look, he was never a nationalist, folks. That was all bullshit. He gave you a line of bullshit that you believed, and you went down and voted for him. If you would just come to that conclusion and then just say, you know what, I made a mistake, you'll be okay. You'll still be okay. But you can't do that. You can't do that because that is the cult mentality. I know what a cult mentality is like. I lived in one. Anyway, I digress. Back to Kushner. They believe now, the Christian conspiracy crowd, that Kushner is the one who is pushing Trump's buttons and making everything happen. It is not going to be a huge leap for these people to start saying that Kushner is the Antichrist. That is what they're going to start saying. I guarantee it. You're going to see it in the next couple of months. Hell, type it in. I haven't typed it in myself. And I will do this in real time. And go on YouTube and type in Jared Kushner is the Antichrist. And okay, these are all recent, of course. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, folks. This is going to be the new conspiracy idea. Oh, here's one from 5 months ago. The beast out of the earth. Interesting. Well, I have to look at that. So, this is where they're going, and you can sense it. You can sense it. Kushner's the Antichrist. Okay, Kushner can't be the Antichrist. Kushner can set everything up for the Antichrist, but Kushner can't be the Antichrist because the Antichrist is supposed to be in charge of a major military, the strongest and most powerful military of the world. And what military would that be, folks? Come on. It's time to wake up to this reality. For those of you who really believe what's going on is in fact going on, because it is, these are the end times, it's the end of this age, as I have said before, it's the end of the Abrahamic religions. And do you think with 2.5 billion Christians, 1.7, something like that, billion Muslims, and just in comparison, a handful of Jews. There's not that many Jews on this planet. They're much smaller than even Buddhist and Hindu. But with the Jews, the Christians, the Jews certainly have a major influence on this planet. There's no question about that. With the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims destroying each other, what do you think's going to happen to the rest of us? You don't have to be someone who believes in end-time prophecy to see what's going on. You don't have to believe in this stuff to see what's going on. Now, let me give you my predictions. Now, I am predicting something. It may happen, it may not happen. If I'm telling you this is from God and God told me that you need to hear this, then I am calling myself a prophet. But I'm not telling you this is from God and God wanted me to tell you this. If someone says that and then makes a prediction, they are calling themselves a prophet. So folks, if they prophesy falsely, then they are a false prophet. I am not calling myself that. I've just recently, yesterday, had someone who said I was calling myself a prophet when I never said anything of the kind. Let me make a prediction when it comes to Jared Kushner. If, indeed, and I believe he is, I believe that he is going to do this with regards to Israel and Palestine and the Middle East in general. Kushner is going to be the one who is behind the scenes. He's the one who's going to set everything up for Trump to come in as this great peacemaker. It's going to be Kushner who's behind all of this. In that respect, he may be regarded, if you want to look at him biblically from the book of Revelation, he may be regarded as this video here says, the beast out of the earth, which would be what we call the false prophet. Maybe. Certainly he's going to have a major influence over this. This is my prediction, that he will indeed get Donald Trump sitting down with Netanyahu, sitting down with the Palestinians, and hammering out a peace treaty. This will all be because of Kushner. I believe that he's going to be behind the peace treaty that we'll see between the United States and Russia, because we are going to be at the brink of war. Things have calmed down a little bit. That's the way labor pains go. You get a major labor pain, and then it goes away. And then you get a major labor pain, and then it goes away. It's getting closer and closer and closer to the end of this. To the end of this age. As the metaphorical woman is in childbirth. We're going through labor pains. He is going to bring this planet to peace. Kushner will do this. He is the one who's the operator who will get all these things done. But Donald Trump's the one who's going to be regarded as the one who got it done, of course, because he is president of the United States. Now, I predict biblically, if we're going to go by what the Bible says is going to happen, 3.5 years. That is the prediction from the book of Daniel. It says that what we now call the Antichrist will bring peace to the Middle East. A treaty will be signed, and then 3.5 years after the treaty is signed, he will break it. Now, Daniel calls it a week, so that's interpreted as 7 years. So halfway through the week, 3.5 years, the peace treaty will be broken by Trump, and I think that it's going to be because of a falling out between Trump and Kushner. So look for this. This is years down the road. We haven't even gotten the peace agreement yet. But I am making a prediction. Am I telling you that God came down and whispered this in my ear? No. I'm looking at what's going on now. I know these prophecies. I've known them since I was 11 years old. I'm very seeped in biblical end times, quote unquote, prophecy. So I know what these prophecies are. I'm not prophesying. I am predicting based on what I see, the events going on in the world today. So this is prognosticating, not prophesying. 3.5 years. Watch this man. He's going to be more and more influential, and he's going to be more and more well known as people like Steve Bannon, who has his own bizarre, quote, end times ideas, sort of based on maybe a opposite view of what end times people like ISIS, which, by the way, if you didn't know, that ISIS, they're major end timers. They believe, of course, that Muslims are going to be the ones who dominate the earth. Christians, of course, believe that they're the ones who are going to dominate the earth. You're both wrong. You're both wrong. I'm telling you, the Christian church is not the church of the man we call Jesus Christ. He is not. It's not based on the teachings of Christ. If it were, then the Christians would all be pacifists. And they're not. They're not. They're far from pacifist. They never were pacifist. The Christian church is based on the lies and the paganism of the Roman Catholic Church. And I don't care what religion you call yourself when it comes to Christianity, what denomination, or non-denominational. If you keep the Bible and you believe it's 100% true, that it's inerrant Word of God, then you might as well be calling yourself a Catholic. The Catholics were the ones who put that book together. Everything you're reading, it was approved at some point by the Catholic Church, the Pope. So you are saying, okay, the Pope knows what the words of God is, so I'm going to read it. And how many times I have Christians who don't understand what the foundation of their religion is. The foundation of your religion is the whore church, the Catholic Church. You've got in the book of Revelation, you have the whore and her harlot daughters, and the daughters are all the other Christian churches. As long as you call yourself a Christian, as long as you keep to the Bible and you're a churchgoer or not a churchgoer, but have been, then you will fall with them. The Muslims are going to fall too, and so are the Jews. They're all going to fall. The Abrahamic faiths are coming to an end. That I will continue to preach until my dying day. The Abrahamic faiths are coming to an end, and they're not going to go out quietly. They're going to go out with what they know and understand, which is violence. Violence. And this man, Jared Kushner, who owns 666 Fifth Avenue, is going to be a man of quote-unquote peace. When they say peace and security, folks, when they say peace and security, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, and there will be no one left at that point. No, I'm speaking hyperbolically. There will be some of us left. There's going to be a very small amount of people who make it through to the end of this, into the new world. And I hope, this is my hope, that all these things that I have said that are stored somewhere in the cloud, all the things that Lucy and I have done with regards to what we now call the House of Hillel is still out there, so that people can see, wow, this is what we should be listening to. Folks, these religions are a cancer to this planet. They are a cancer to this planet. They have to change. They have to grow. They have to expand. And that's going to happen through individuals. within these religions, whether it's Christian, Muslim, Jew. It's going to happen with those individuals who are more concerned with helping others and seeing us prosper as the human race than they are concerned about whether or not you believe this or you believe that. That doesn't matter. Belief is belief. None of us know, folks, what's going to happen after this life. None of us know God. Not really. Not really. You have to know yourself to know God. You have to know yourself to know God. There's many of us who have great understanding in knowing themselves. And if people would focus on understanding themselves, then all of this other stuff, which quite frankly is nothing but a bunch of nonsense that is there to pit us against each other. Its only purpose is to pit us against each other. So, this is this man. There's not a lot to be said about him yet. I promise you, Kushner is going to be behind the peace treaty. That's not going to be far off. But you have to have things start getting bad. War is going to continue to be on the horizon. It's going to continue to look as though it's going to happen at any moment. Right now we're sort of in a very calm sort of, the labor pain is sort of, we're taking a breath. We're taking a breather right now. But it's not going to be a long one. It's not going to be a long one. It seems that these things are coming within 2 or 3 weeks now. So I anticipate within the next week or two, we're going to see either North Korea, Syria, or somewhere else where we're going to have problems. So in order to maintain what they already have, they're going to put this piece together, and the person that's going to be held as the great peacemaker, as I have said for several months now, before he was elected, hell, before he was even nominated, that great peacemaker, Donald Trump, and Jared Kushner is going to be a big part of that. So there's going to be a couple videos down here in the description box, so check those out. If you like what I do, subscribe, comment, share my videos. I'm getting to a point where very soon I personally will not be doing these. So I've given you all I can. Whether that's enough, I don't know. But it's all I can do. So I do this simply to try to get this message out there for people to understand. With understanding of what's going on, I'm hoping to help you to be less in fear. That is what I'm trying to do for you. Because fear is an instrument within us that causes us to do terrible things to ourselves and to others. It is all out of fear. Anger stems from fear. Fear is what they use, what the church uses, what the government uses to control you. So I am trying to help you to see what's going on, and if you understand it, I'm hoping that that will lessen your fear. So that is the major catalyst for why I do any of this. So if you like what I do, please subscribe, comment, like, and share my videos. This is Shindo. Have a good Monday.